Hey everyone, welcome to Encore, and today I'm going to be reviewing Dinair Airbrush System. Hey everyone, it's Corin, and you're watching EnKoreMakeup. Blend, blend, blend.
Hi Corin, stop using my lipstick.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So I know many of you guys have been inquiring about a more personal type of airbrush system, and airbrushing used to be like a pro-only thing, you know, but with recent trend, everybody's gearing more into getting their own airbrush system because everybody wants that flawless airbrush finish to their makeup. And I know that I'm traditional, you know, I love my brushes. You guys know how I love my brushes, and as much as possible I try to do traditional all the time, but since airbrush makeup rocketed, I kind of like went along with it and learned it, you know, to make myself a little bit more marketable. Much like any other industry, if there's something new, you know, you kind of adapt to it and you learn new things, so that way you're within the trend. So same thing with makeup. And today I'm going to talk about Dinair, and recently I actually attended their 2-day seminar just to learn more about the product itself and more about, you know, the equipment and the product, why it's so popular, and I managed to get certified by attending the class. So I got my certification. So that was really cool, and what I found out is that there's so many things, you know, that you can actually achieve with Dinair products. Now, a little bit about Dinair. Dinair is the innovator of airbrush makeup. They started this whole thing, all right, back in 1980. Yes, 1980. All right, and then the other companies just kind of followed, but they've been like, you know, working on their own stuff since 1980. Now, Dinah, who is the founder, is actually like, she's an actress, professional makeup artist, and she's the one who formulates all their stuff. And they also engineer their own equipment. Most other bigger companies, they outsource their equipment. Like Mac, their airbrush systems from Iwata, and you know, other companies uses like equipment from like Sparmax, companies like that, who specializes more in actual, you know, airbrush equipment. Okay, but the products that they have, those are actually formulated by their own company. Okay, so it's more about the products that they really own. Now, Dinair actually engineered their own system, and that's what I'm going to go over today. I own 4 systems, which are the creme de la creme of airbrush makeup these days. Of course, Dinair, Temp 2, Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics, and Cat. Those are the 4 big boys of, or big girls, of airbrush makeup. So Dinair is the innovator. They originated this whole craze back in 1980, and I'm going to share with you guys the compressor. One thing I like immediately, the size. Oh my gosh, look how small this is. So the size is definitely on top of my list. The weight is really light, and the performance was amazing because I did the 2-day class and it didn't heat up at all. You know, it didn't overheat. It performed exactly the same consistent performance throughout the 2 days, and it was like a 9 to 6 of intensive class. And also the colors, they come in many colors, so you know, not just black or silver, all right, which are the standard colors for compressors. Dinair has a multitude of colors, from hot pink to zebra print to cheetah print, black, silver, blue, purple, you know. So if you like colors, then you know, definitely something to look into. The only thing is that because it's so small, there's no room for a battery pack. Alright, so the battery pack comes separately. You're going to have to buy that separately. And basically it looks like a bunch of batteries packed together. These are rechargeable. You know, it comes with a cord and then a little plug that plugs into the outlet, alright, of the compressor. Okay, but it does come with the power plug. Alright, so this is standard, it comes with it. So the disadvantage is that if you're on location and there's no power source, then you really can't use this. You're going to need to have the battery pack, alright, for you to be able to be mobile with it without worrying about electricity. So as far as the compressor, again, it's got a holder. It's really simple design. It's just, you know, a hard wire, okay, ring, and you basically cradle the airbrush gun on that, and then the compressor knob. This is what controls the air, and basically at the class they only specified the position of the knob. So if you are facing the compressor, and you can read the Dinair logo right here, basically if you put it to 9 o'clock, which is right there, alright, that's going to be the lowest pressure, and then there's the 12 o'clock position, which gives you medium pressure, and then the 3 o'clock, of course, is going to give you a blast, okay? And this compressor can produce up to 15 psi of air. There you go. As far as the class is concerned, there's only 2 positions that you need to worry about. 10 o'clock, alright, is what you're going to need to do eyeshadows, eyeliner, brows, anywhere around the ocular or the eye area that's sensitive. And then 12 o'clock is for foundation, for bronzer, blush, lips, for tanning, okay, which we got to learn. That was pretty fun. I know how to tan people now, spray tan people. So that's really cool. And then of course there's the 3 o'clock, which is going to give you the blast, and that's only used to flush out the products from your air gun, okay, because it's going to give out 15 psi's right there. Alright, so it's pretty easy that way. All you need to worry about is know the positioning. Again, the 2 main ones, basically 10 o'clock position and then noon. Alright, so that's pretty easy. There's no fancy bells and baubles that you're going to need to worry about. Okay, now let's go on to the gun. The gun is, again, pretty simple. Okay, one thing that's simple is that it's a continuous airflow, which means that when this is plugged onto right into the compressor, you'll feel air coming out, okay? And the only way to stop that is turn off your compressor, so the air is continuously flowing. So to make the product dispense with the air, so that it mixes with the air and blows out, all you need to do is basically pull back the lever right here to about the horizon position. As you can see, it's angled, alright, and all you need to do is pull it to about right there, okay? And as far as what they recommended, it's best to rock it back and forth, much like this one, much like this. Alright, and it's basically gravity feed, which means it's top feed. You put the product right there, and gravity kind of is what mixes with the air. Alright, once you pull this trigger, it's going to release the product with the air and it blows out. Alright, so the design of the gun itself is pretty simple. And then comparing that to a dual action gun, you're going to need to press down so that it releases the air, and then pull back for the product to dispense with the air. Okay, so sometimes that takes practice. Alright, and it takes a little bit of mastering to do that, to be able to control both the air and the product at the same time. So this gun is going to make it easier for those of you guys who are beginners, because the air is constant. Alright, all you need to do is add the product by rocking back and forth. Now, one thing I'm not really particularly excited about is this cord right here. It's just a silicone tubing. Alright, and there's no attachment screws or anything like that. You just basically just stick this right into the gun, and then the other end goes right into the compressor. Alright, and it's kind of like a rubbery cord. Now, I'm not sure if I particularly like this. It looks more like a medical thing, a medical tubing. But my worry is that, you know, sometimes when I pack my equipment and my stuff together, I tend to I tend to just knock here, and sometimes I would pack my scissors and shears and stuff like that with you know, and I'm just worried that I think, you know, this is going to get damaged. So I'm going to have to personally be aware of how I will pack my stuff and make sure that this is away from any sharp objects, because it's definitely going to damage it if I, you know, if I just like throw that in along with my shears and my scissors. And also the problem is if it gets tangled, alright, and it goes like that, then your air is going to be cut off, alright, and that can cause any problem, because if it releases again, you're going to get spitting out on your gun. So I guess I'm a little bit more used to the braided hoses, you know, that comes in most of the airbrush systems. So I don't know. That's the only thing, is the hose. So okay, so again, like I said, as far as performance is concerned, it's great. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the products itself. Now, the airbrush makeup part right here. One thing I'm going to tell you is, like, they have a lot of colors. Now, the other companies, they have very limited colors. Of course, they all have the basic foundation colors. They will have that in pretty much every tone. They're mixable and whatnot. But Dinair has far more colors than most do. Look at all these bright colors. They have neon colors, black light colors. They have a lot more colors. And this is in addition to their foundation colors, or the skin tones. They also have adjusters that are a little bit more kind of like really bright kabam colors. The second thing is that it's pure water base. Okay, there's no silicones in it. There's no glycerin, and they use purified water. So it's really base, you know, traditional plain ingredient. Really, it's just purified water, and you know, the colorant or the pigment is suspended in that, and then you'll, again, much like any other formulation, you shake it. You can hear the balls in there, the shaking balls, or the mixing balls. Shaking balls. Oh my god! The mixing balls. And that's what's going to basically mix, okay, the pigment and the water together. Alright, as far as coverage, it's great because you can use it on hair. I did it on Leisha, aka X Sparkage, which happened to be in my class, and I did that animal hair on her hair, and it's like a rainbow color. And I started off with just a bunch of colors, just mixing it and creating kind of like a crisscross pattern, and then I stenciled animal spots or leopard spots on top of it, and it looks brilliant with these colors. So as far as pigment is concerned, it's great. It's amazing stuff. And of course, water-based. Now, the other companies, which I will eventually review also for you guys, Temp2, for instance, silicone-based. That's why they call them SB. They also have water-based, but their top of the line is silicone-based. And then Cat is silicone and glycerin. So that'll give you a little bit more of that satin finish, a little bit of that dewy, you know, finish to it, because the glycerin captures moisture from the air and keeping it moist looking. And then Obsessive Compulsive uses water base as well, but they use deionized water. So I'm going to go over those when I do their videos, the reviews for you guys. So that's pretty much it. Definitely check this system out if you're interested. Now, they are packaged for you already. There's like the first package, I believe, is like 4 foundations in the system. But what I highly suggest is the second package, because the second package, you get choices of the colors. Okay, you get 2 foundation colors, which is great because you can use one to highlight, as your base foundation, the other one to contour, and then you get 2 shadow colors, 2 brow colors, you know, and like the basic black, and you know, you have choices. The first choice is just 4 foundations depending on your skin tone. So they have like a tan set and a fair set and a light set and a dark set type thing. So you really don't have a use for 4 foundations, but if you're a pro, then definitely you can have a use for it. So if you're just a personal user, I would go for the second choice, because you can have choice of up to 8 different colors. So you can pretty much, you know, choose, like I said, choose 2 blush colors, 2 foundation, 2 eyeshadows, and 2 brows, whatever. It's up to you. So check them out. Website is www.airbrushmakeup.com. And thanks so much for joining me, and I'll look forward to reviewing the other systems for you guys soon. Alright, bye!